से बोलिया और सबको कि आपने ये कार्यक्रम शुरू किया और वाकई बात यह है कि ये इसकी बहुत ही ज़्यादा आवश्यकता है। और राम गुप्ता साहब यहाँ नहीं है, मगर उनको भी बहुत ज़्यादा बधाई कि उन्होंने इस चीज़ के लिए उन्होंने अगुवाई करी है। और ये जान के बहुत खुशी हुई कि 23 में से 9 IITs अब इसको काम कर रही हैं। और IITs का जितनी ब्रांड वैल्यू है, अगर आप लोग करेंगे तो ज़रूर ये समाज में फैलेगी और बहुत बड़ी बात बन जाएगी। मेरे ख्याल में ये चीज़ और ईश्वर करे कि ये 23 की 23 IITs और फिर IIMs और फिर एम्स और बाकी सब में भी फैले। ये जो चीज़ है वो it's a wish and I hope it will come true, and the sooner it will come true the better it is, because my own understanding is that the colonial legacy has to be reversed now, and that is what it is required. You know, the whole system of creating Macaulay Putrams, which will only learn by rote, and which will only learn by rote and which will not question anything that they are told, has to be reversed if this country has to progress anywhere. I mean, apart from becoming Viksat Bharat or Vishwa Guru, etc., for our own self-respect, we have to start believing that we are not creatures who will take orders. We are creatures, we are people who will ask questions. So that was what our Sanskriti was. That is what our संस्कार was. हमें सिखाया ये जाता था पहले ज़माने में कि, और सारी जो आप देखें शिक्षा की पद्धति वो ये है कि गुरु बैठा हुआ है शिष्य के साथ और शिष्य सवाल पूछ रहा है, उसके वो जवाब दे रहा है। आप कहीं पे भी देख लें, चाहे जनक का देख लें, नचिकेत का देख लें, कोई हम जब बड़े हुए तो हमारे साथ ये होता था कि जो बताया जा रहा है उसको याद करो और कभी ये ना पूछो ये क्यों कह रहे हैं आप। और घर में भी यही होता था कि क्यों ना पूछो, जो कहा है वो करो, उसके आगे। तो ये जो परिवर्तन है, ये जो चेंज है, ये बहुत आवश्यक है। और मैं आपको इसके लिए बहुत फिर से बधाई देना चाहता हूँ कि इस चीज़ की शुरुआत हुई है। मगर ये भी मान लें हम लोग, और इसके बारे में वी शुड एक्सेप्ट आवर ह्यूमिलिटी एंड आवर चैलेंज। इट्स अ वेरी लॉन्ग रोड अहेड, और ये वेरी लॉन्ग रोड अहेड, और इसमें बहुत काम करना है। और उसमें जो एक बड़ी बात मुझे जो समझ में आती है वो ये है कि पता नहीं क्यों हमारे संस्कार में ये हो गया है कि इट्स ऑल अबाउट द इंडिविजुअल। अहम ब्रह्मोस्मि, मतलब मैं हूँ। तो हम लोग कोई स्कूल नहीं क्रिएट करते। वी डोंट क्रिएट स्कूल्स ऑफ थॉट, एंड इफ यू डोंट क्रिएट स्कूल्स ऑफ थॉट वी विल नॉट बी एबल टू टेक दिस फॉरवर्ड. So my first suggestion, Professor Bolia, is in this 9 IITs that you've started this work, please create a platform where all 9 of you can come together regularly and talk about this as much as possible, because that's what you require to do. And that's what we in Pehle India Foundation, I started that in 2013, and now I've gone back to it. Its tagline is simply putting India first to make India first. And we are trying to create the same platform that all of us who believe in a particular, philosophy, who believe in a particular way forward, must come together, and all the stakeholders must come together. And the principal stakeholders are the government, the industry, the academia, and the civil society. We don't work together. These 4 stakeholders in this country don't work together. We need to bring them together. I think that's the message that I would like to leave. But I must be honest, and I start off by saying as to why am I here in the Indian knowledge system? Economist, how did I get there? Why am I here? And the fact is that I started education in a convent, luckily with a scholarship, came to modern school, Barakhama Road, where we used to have bhajans in the morning. And one of the bhajans used to be कि भारत हमारा देश है, इसका ऋण हम पर बहुत, और इस ऋण के खातिर हम कुछ न कुछ कर जाएंगे. Because modern school was started by Indian capitalists, Indian businessmen, Lala Raghuveer, Shobha Singh, others, who said we will give all the public school facilities, but in an Indian, Bharatiya context. So I benefited from that. But so far, I went away to Oxford, 5 years. I thought that was the world's best place, etc. Came back here, a complete brown sahib. बिल्कुल एकदम कोई. तो ये मेरे साथ परिवर्तन कैसे हुआ, क्यों हुआ? क्योंकि मुझे 1988 में मेरे अपने बड़े लड़के की तबीयत ख़राब होने की वजह से, और जिसका कि कोई समाधान नहीं मिल रहा था, मुझे एक चीज़ मिल गई जिसका नाम था सहज योग. और सहज योग जो है वो कुंडलिनी शास्त्र पे आधारित है, जो कि 12,000 पुराना जो है हमारा शास्त्र मार्कंडी पुराण से जिसका निकला है, जिसमें मुझे ये समझ में आया, ये मुझे बताया गया, मुझे बिल्कुल यकीन नहीं था जब तक कि मेरा अपना खुद अनुभव नहीं हुआ, कि आपके अंदर एक सूक्ष्म शरीर है जिसमें 3 नाड़ियाँ हैं, ईड़ा, पिंगला, सुषुम्ना, और जिसमें 7 प्राइमरी चक्र हैं और 3 और भी चक्र हैं, मूलाधार, स्वादिष्ठान, मणिपुर, अनहत, विशुद्धि, आज्ञा, सहस्त्रार। और अगर यहाँ पर आप इनको ठीक कर लें अपनी चीज़ों को उस लेवल पर, उस सूक्ष्मता पर, तो आपको कोई और चीज़, कोई और प्रॉब्लम होगी ही नहीं। और ये यकीन जानिए, प्लीज़ बिलीव मी व्हेन आई से दिस, दैट आफ्टर आई स्टार्टेड प्रैक्टिसिंग सहज, एंड दिस इज जस्ट अ फॉर्म ऑफ मेडिटेशन ट्वाइस अ डे, and I'm not well, it's a plug of course, but I'm not trying to advertise or so. You practice it twice a day, and my older son got rid of his asthma because we achieved our balance. My wife and I achieved our balance. हम संतुलन में आ गए तो उसकी तबीयत ठीक होगी और आज भी वो बहुत अच्छा काम कर रहा है। मेरी कहानी इंडियन नॉलेज सिस्टम से वहाँ से शुरू होती है, और वहाँ से मुझे पता लगता है कि कैसे इस देश में, इस संस्कृति में कितनी हज़ारों साल पहले बातें जो होती थीं वो आज सबसे ज़्यादा रेलेवेंट हैं। और मैं क्यों कह रहा हूँ आप लोगों को, व्हाई एम आई सेइंग दिस टू यू गाइस, इज दैट टुडे द प्लैनेट, द ह्यूमैनिटी, आवर कंट्री इज एट अ स्टेज where we don't look for new innovative solutions which are found, the roots of which are found in the Indian knowledge system. We won't be able to save this planet because we have to grow ourselves, we have to grow exponentially from $3,000 per capita to $15,000 per capita or more or whatever. But at the same time, we have to become green. We have to reduce our carbon footprint. And the whole Western philosophy method is to conquer nature, while our method is to live with nature. And that is the solution that we have to find to become green and yet grow at the same time. And this is what we have to do. And this is what we are trying in Pehle India Foundation to say, that you mentioned about some, I forget the two, you, Professor Bolia, about the mismeasuring lives. You've got to go beyond GDP. You've got to go beyond just the calculation of per capita income. You've got to say, what is my natural capital? What is my human capital? What is my social capital? How am I engaging with that? And put it in a measure so that we can calculate how we're growing forward on that. So that's the sort of thing that's an innovative kind of thing that you have to start doing. Now, in this regard, what I have found, and Professor Rao mentioned it when I was in NITI Aayog, we had the Atal Innovation Mission. And I asked my colleague there, Chintan Vaishnav, I said, why are we talking about innovation only in English? Because the most difficult thing to do to innovate in a foreign language. You have to start talking about in your own language, and then you will innovate. And lo and behold, and thanks to Chintan, and Professor Rao just mentioned it, the whole system of learning in 22 languages or more started off, and innovation comes together. So that's, again, I'm saying that, once I got into the fundamentals of how the Indian knowledge system, and for me it was Sahaj Yoga and the Sukshma Sharir and so on, then you begin to realize that what a treasure there is in all forms of things. For example, for a long time I heard that there was only Shushruta and Charak Sangita. 6 years ago, my own arthritis was cured by somebody who is producing oils based on the Sharangadhar Sangita. I had never heard of it before. But, and Swami, I forget the name, but he was the shish of that. So there is, the more you come to it, the more you discover that there is much more to learn. So now here, one was innovation. The second I wanted to talk about, and which is where I met Rajiv Vasudev also, the NITI Aayog made a big attempt at mainstreaming Ayurveda and trying to bring it together. And my own member, Dr. V.K. Paul, a pediatrician from AIIMS, and Bharat and Bhushan Patavardhan from Pune, they came together and we formed working groups and so on to say how we can mainstream Ayurveda to cure particular diseases and to have the preventive health, as Rajiv talked about, so on and so forth. But here is the problem. When I started that work, I was approached by the Indian Medical Association formally, and they came to me and in my office and said, please don't do what you're doing, because you're going to propagate mumbo jumbo, and that's not good for the country. And don't do that. And if you know, each our doctor contacts at least 5,000 people a month, the patients. And if we start a movement against it, you know where you will be. The whole perception of that is anybody doing Ayurveda is one who wanted to be a allopathy doctor but couldn't be. Nonsense, complete. But that's the reality. And so what we suggested with the help of what's his name? The one, huh? Not Kotecha, but the one who started as Vyasa, Nagendra. So Nagendra was on the working group, and I met him. Dr. Nagendra said that, look, we should create a system of medical education where every student goes through both the traditional and the modern medicine for the first 2 years. Everybody learns anatomy, physiology, Ayurveda, Siddha, etc., etc. Third year onwards, they choose where they want to go. That will remove this inferiority nonsense about Ayurveda. And we tried this, but so far have not succeeded. This is the challenge, Professor Bolia, that we have in front of us. Similarly, we can do it in engineering, I don't know, but so on. But the point is that, we have heard such erudition here, so erudite people. But we do this in the comfort of our own small gatherings. We need to bring it out in the society, and we need to challenge those who have vast numbers, who are still benefited, who have benefited from the so-called modern Western science and rationality, to say that, look, this is not the reality, the other is the reality. And my experience with Ayurveda, and I say, believe you me, in AIMS, I've told the doctors gathering of 200 people standing there that, look, guys, I was advised knee transplant by you lot, and I'm standing here before you because of Ayurveda. But they would not accept it. How do you change that? How do you change that? That's the challenge that we not do. Similarly, again, and I just make 2 more points. We've started in NITI Aayog, and it took me 1.5 years to convince the Prime Minister of the validity of this, something called zero chemical farming, natural farming, prakritik kheti. Farming without this chemical fertilizers, herbicides, pesticides, which are the cause of the rampant cancer that you've seen all over. There's a train called the cancer train which goes from Bhatinda to Bikaner. Now we are doing this in Pehle India Foundation because, and this also applies to Ayurveda, the truth is कि परिणाम है मगर प्रमाण नहीं है. And that's what you need to create. And this is why I've now taken up a 3-year research program on proving the viability of zero chemical farming, that it can give us food security along with making us healthier and along with improving the organic, the soil health, the water usage and water conservation, and the environmental health, and removing carbon from the environment and putting it back into the soil. And natural farming, prakritik kheti can do this. Another example, but we want of praman. Praman in Ayurveda is so difficult to get by because you don't have the machines that you need, the Ayurveda professors need to show how their medicines work. What is the pharmacology of that? I know of a person, Vaid Balendu, who has cured 1,500 cases of pancreatitis, documented. But the man cannot go forward because he doesn't have the wherewithal to provide evidence. Because we have to provide evidence of what. Finally, friends, because I'm an economist, the whole economics that we have read economics is a science of limited means and unlimited wants. Kabir said, "Jab aave santosh dhan sab dhan dhoon saman." But where is the unlimited wants then? Somebody just talked about, beautifully you talked about that you don't renounce, you don't do it, but you don't also keep consuming and for the sake of consumption. You don't go out and buy till you drop and then come back and do a garage sale because all that you collected is not needed. So economics, the definition of economics needs to change. The whole utility theory needs to change. And that requires a very deep effort, concerted, collective effort from all of us to start theorizing on the basis of what we know are our values. We don't believe in destroying nature. We don't believe in just accumulating things for our own sake. We say that there is a point beyond which you don't need, and there is therefore the whole idea of, sort of just reaching satisfaction levels and not just. So all of this I'm pointing out to you to say that in order to make the Indian knowledge system relevant to the current situation, to make it appealing to the younger generation, make it worthwhile for us in the policy making to pursue it, we need to work together, we need to work harder, and we need to produce the evidence that this is the knowledge system that will save the planet from extinction, and there is none other that we know of. Thank you very much for listening to me.